Hello and welcome back to another episode of Hep Huddle. So this one was written in from Edgar Reese from Taylor Cherry's office in Chicago. He writes, I want to know how to get anyone to be good enough to close and make money for themselves. Great comment. I've been training people for 6 months now, but I want to take it to the next level. Any training tips on how to take it to the next level would be greatly appreciated. And so, like your train of thought here, Edgar, and I can't help but think of my journey, right? What was it like for me? And so I remember being a new person coming in. I'm an entry level, just really trying to figure out the business, trying to figure out my existence in the business, and had my struggles. And there was a person in the office named Andre, and Andre was a special needs kid. And so I was trying to figure out, like, what's Andre doing here? What's his goal? Because as I got to learn the business, I'm like, well, the goal is to learn the sales, learn how to be a great leader, build a crew, become a manager, so on and so forth. So I get into leadership and I go up to one of the owners, Terry, and I ask Terry, I'm like, hey, Terry, now that I understand the game, hey, what's Andre doing here? What's his long-term objective? And he says to me, Jamie, I'm so glad you asked. Andre's actually my nephew, and long-term, he wants to work in a grocery store, and I thought this business would be good for him to get the social skills, learn how to communicate, learn how to talk to people, and I think that would help him long-term, whatever he does. And so again, I'm glad you asked because you're a new leader. You don't have anybody on your team. As I said, Andre's my nephew. I brought him into the business. He's got no trainer, no leader. Maybe you can help Andre. So here we go. Andre's technically the first person I had trained. And so I remember Andre when I'm like, okay, how do I put the pieces of the pitch together for Andre? And it really made me think with Andre because he was very curious to know all the little details. And I'm like, I never noticed that I held my port, in today's day and age, it'd be holding the iPad, with my right hand. And as I'm communicating and I make my first hello to somebody, I notice with my left hand, I went from the inside out and I said, hello. Again, I never noticed I did that. And I'm like, hey, Andre, so just hold the port with your right hand and with your left hand. As you meet somebody, you just say hello. And he'd do it, except he'd go from the outside in. I'm like, no, let's just work from the inside out. So I really got into the details with Andre and really structured the pitch for him. We'd go in the field together, and what was remarkable, by the time we're done training, he was hitting leadership standards. And it really gave me the confidence that, gee, if I can really break things down simply and I can get down to every minute detail of the pitch and train Andre to hit leadership standards, surely I can train anybody that comes into the business, okay? Anybody, young, old, black, white, boy, girl, doesn't matter. I'm colorblind to whoever comes into the business. I think that I can train anybody to be successful at sales. And so again, gave me the confidence. I've had hundreds of people over the years come in and I've had to train them. And I really do believe that. I don't care what the person's background is. I really feel confident that I can train anybody to be successful in the terms of selling. I'm not so sure I can train anybody to be a great leader or anybody to be a great owner, but surely in sales, everybody and anybody can do sales. So let's jump into this. I've really got 3 tips for you guys here today on effective sales training. My first thought is self-awareness. We need to be aware as leaders, right? We're about to duplicate ourselves. We're about to train other people on our systems. I need to be aware of what's really working for me. I need to be aware of my habits. I need to be aware of my shortcomings and where I need to improve. And so I'm going to reference the systems evaluation episode. It's episode 90. Ran a detailed structure. Here's a system where you can actually take a good look at your personal inventory on, hey, what's really working well and where do you have room for improve? But we need to have some self-awareness. Ken Blanchard, he was trained by Peter Drucker, one of the greats. And he said something interesting. We had him on a Zoom call not so long ago, which was, pretty awesome. And he said what he learned from Peter, Nothing good happens by accident. Put some structure around it. In other words, if there's successes that are happening, right? If you're doing things right, it's not by chance, it's not by fluke. Pay attention and put some structure around that. Similar to what I was doing with Andre, like, oh, I didn't realize I held the port in my right hand, or you're holding the iPad in your right hand. Like, that's a keen observation. Does it even matter whether it's left or right? I don't know. But just pay attention to what you're doing and put some structure around it. My second thought is simplicity. As I grew up in the business, they said the KISS principle, Jamie, you got to keep it short and simple, stupid. I'm not so sure that that's PC in today's sensitive climate, like stupid, but keep it short and simple, right? Like simplicity is one of the key ingredients in duplication. If it's complicated and complex, good luck scaling that. So I love the Albert Einstein quote, if you can't explain it simply, you don't know it well enough. So if you think about how you're teaching the pitch and you think about your game and your system that you're explaining, if it's not simple, you got to go back to the laboratory and you got to fine tune your craft that it should be as few words as possible, as simple as possible. I've seen I go to some offices, I've seen, hey, give me a copy of the pitch, and it's multiple pages long. I'm like, listen, if it doesn't fit on one page, it's not the right pitch. It's got to be a one-pager. I tell people in emails, listen, if you can't tweet this, don't email it. Bring it smaller. It's got to be short, concise, to the point. Again, simplicity is one of the keys in duplication. And my last thought, celebrate the wins. Make a big deal about it. I can't tell you how many times I've been in the field and something good is happening and my recruit, my trainee, and me are dancing in the streets. I can imagine people are looking out their front windows like, what is going on out there? Hopefully that curiosity alone makes you open the door, right? But celebrate the wins. There's an old saying that feedback is the fuel of champions. Now, tricky to give negative feedback, constructive feedback, if you will, but it should be easy to give positive feedback. So don't be shy to really celebrate the high fives, again, dancing in the streets. But I'll tell you, with Andre, again, every time he did something right, when he's going from the inside out, he's waving with his left hand. Big high fives, way to go, Andre. And so the more positive feedback I kept giving him, the more he did it, to the point that it just became habitual and he didn't have to think about it anymore. And he really rattled through the right pitch, doing it the right way. And that's how Andre got good. That's how all the trainees that I work with, I'm always looking to find an excuse to give real positive feedback and celebrate the wins anytime I get a chance.